The most incredible mysteries of nature may be found in the forms of unusual and exotic plants, each of which has a tale to tell. We're going to explore the world of floral wonders in this video, which features 20 of the world's strangest plants. They range from incredibly beautiful to incredibly strange. These natural wonders will amaze you. Ghost orchid. If you go deep into the swamps of Florida or the dark woods of Cuba, you might notice the ghost orchid, Dendrophylax lindeni. But only if you're lucky. One of nature's most amazing tricks is this rare flower that looks almost like a ghost. It seems to float in the air because it doesn't have any leaves or roots that can be seen. The ghost orchid doesn't have any leaves. Instead, it rests on its covert roots, which stick to tree bark and directly make food through photosynthesis. Because of this amazing adaptation, the plant is almost unnoticeable because it blends in with its surroundings. For many years, people believed it to be extinct until they discovered it once more in the Florida Everglades. Growing a ghost orchid is hard, and not many people can do it. It needs steady humidity, water from rain or distillation, and the right amount of light and shade. But if you're lucky enough to see one in bloom, you'll never forget the sight. A tiny white flower with long curled petals that looks like a ghost in the moonlight. Titan arum, the giant that smells like death. In the jungles of Sumatra, Indonesia, there is a strange plant that stands out from the other plants. One of the tallest growing plants on Earth is the Titan arum, Amorphophallus titanum, which can grow up to 10 feet tall. Not its size, though. That honor goes to the strong smell of rotten meat that makes it stand out. The Italian botanist Odoardo Beccari first wrote about the Titan arum in 1878. Since then, botanists and nature lovers alike have been fascinated by it. You can only see it flower once every 4 to 5 years, and the whole process takes only 48 hours. Flies and beetles, which are nature's morticians, think they've found a dead body because the plant releases heat that makes it smell stronger. These bugs accidentally spread pollen, which helps the plant stay alive. Once the Titan arum has been pollinated, it makes clumps of bright red berries that people should not eat but are very important for rhinoceros hornbills. Because of how much energy this process takes, the plant doesn't get strong enough to grow again for years. Dragon's blood tree, Dracana cinnabari. The dragon's blood tree looks like it fits in a fiction book. It stands tall on the island of Socotra, which is far from the coast of Yemen. It looks like something from another world, with its umbrella-shaped roof and sharp leaves. But what is its most famous feature? People used to think that the deep red sap was actually dragon blood. This bright red wood was valued for hundreds of years because it was thought to have magical powers. It was used in medicine, to make dyes, and even to polish guitars. The dragon's blood tree is more than just a magical creature. It is an important part of the desert ecosystem because it pulls water from the air and provides a safe place for other animals to live under its thick cover. Dracula orchid, Dracula chimaera. Lost in the haze of South and Central American cloud forests lies a plant with a haunting, almost mystical air. The Dracula orchid, so named because it looks so much like a vampire bat, is one of nature's most dramatic creations. In contrast to most orchids, this species likes the cool, damp conditions of high-altitude woods and stays out of direct sunlight, just like its made-up namesake. The plant doesn't even grow in earth. It sticks to tree wood and gets water from the wet air. But the flower is what really makes it stand out. Depending on the species, the flower can look like a dragon, a monkey face, or even a mouth that is laughing. A mushroom-like smell fools fungi-loving flies into pollinating the orchid. Fans can grow Dracula orchids indoors in a wet, shady place, like a garden or even a bathroom, even though it may seem strange and hard to find. Welwitschia mirabilis, the plant that refuses to die. Imagine a plant that is so unusual and out of this world that it looks more like an alien device than a live thing. In the Namib Desert, where it is almost impossible to survive, one species, Welwitschia mirabilis, does it anyway. The Welwitschia plant looks like a mess of torn leaves at first glance, but its amazing story of life lies beneath its rough exterior. During its lifetime, it only makes 2 new leaves instead of many. Yes, 2. And those 2 leaves keep growing. Over time, they curl and split, giving the plant its unique look of being wild and worn. Some of these plants are thought to be more than 2,000 years old, which means they've seen whole societies rise and fall without saying a word. But how does it stay alive where it doesn't rain very often? Scientists are still trying to figure out what it is. It stays alive by getting water from fog that comes in from the Atlantic. This helps it stay moist, even in one of the driest places on Earth. It reproduces in a very strange way. Male and female plants make different cones, like evergreen trees, which suggests that it comes from a very old bloodline. Dawn redwood. The dawn redwood, Metasequoia glyptostroboides, was once assumed to be extinct, yet it has literally risen from the grave. For millions of years it lived only in fossils until the 1940s, when a little grove was unearthed in a secluded Chinese valley. A tree that was assumed to have perished with the dinosaurs reappeared, alive and flourishing. Unlike its cousins, the giant coastal redwoods of California, this species is deciduous, losing its fluffy green needles in the autumn and becoming a bright golden orange. It sits stark and skeleton-like throughout the winter before bursting into new growth in the spring. It's a living artifact, a link to Earth's distant past. Baobab, the tree of life. The baobab, Adansonia digitata, is a tree that looks like it belongs in a magical world. It stands tall over the African desert. Its huge, swollen base and long, spreading branches make it look almost like it's standing on its back. Its branches look like roots reaching up to the sky. But this strange look hides a lifesaver for the people and animals that depend on it. Some of these trees are over 2,000 years old, but they can live for thousands of years. They can live in hard, dry environments because the water in their thick roots can hold thousands of liters. This makes them very important to wildlife and people in the area. Their fruit, which is sometimes called monkey bread, is one of the most vitamin-dense natural foods in the world. When night comes, something amazing happens. The big white flowers on the baobab bloom in minutes, right in front of your eyes. Bats are the tree's main feeders, and these flowers draw them. After that, the fruit grows and dries on the branch on its own before falling to the ground. Traveler's palm. Plants in Madagascar have a built-in way to help you find your way if you get lost. The traveler's palm, Ravenala madagascariensis. People often mistake this beautiful plant for a real palm because it grows in a perfect fan shape that points east to west. This makes it a natural guide for tourists who get lost. Along with showing you the way, the traveler's palm is also a lifesaver in the wild. Its open leaf bases collect rainwater, which is an important way to stay hydrated in the hot, muggy woods. Its huge banana-shaped leaves change color from bright orange at the base to deep green at the tips, making it look even more remarkable. Its unique bond with Madagascar's lemurs might be the most interesting thing about it. The flowers of the traveler's palm stay closed, so lemurs have to pry them open to get to the juice inside. As they eat, they spread pollen from one plant to another, which helps the species stay alive. Franklin tree, Franklinia alatamaha. The franklin tree is a rare and interesting example of a tree that only lives because people have helped it grow. This species lived in the valley of the Altamaha River in Georgia, USA, but it hasn't been seen in the wild in more than 200 years. That plant would have died out forever if not for the Bartram family, who saved and grew its seeds in the 18th century. This small, beautiful tree was named after Benjamin Franklin. Its white flowers, which smell like camellias and are very fragrant, fill the air with a sweet, citrusy flavor. If you put it in a yard, the bright orange-red leaves in the fall really make it stand out. No one knows for sure why the Franklin tree died. Disease, changes in the temperature, or human activity are all possible reasons, but it is still a strong reminder of how fragile nature is. The first Franklin tree seeds are still alive today, so the tree is both a living piece of biological history and a sign of why it's important to protect plants. Nepenthes attenboroughii. There is a plant on the Philippines' Mount Victoria foothills that is so extraordinary that it was named after Sir David Attenborough. Nepenthes attenboroughii isn't your typical pitcher plant. This botanical predator is one of the biggest of its type, capable of eating not just insects, but even small animals. Imagine a massive deep red cup filled with digestive juices, ready for its next victim. Unlike lesser pitcher plants, which trap flies and ants, this one has been known to catch shrews who unintentionally fall into its lethal trap. Pitchers may grow up to 30 centimeters tall, making them ideal for luring creatures with delicious nectar as bait. Once inside, there is no way out. The walls are too slippery, and the liquid within slowly digests whatever falls in. Despite its spooky, predatory character, this plant is in peril. It can only be found in a small part of the Philippines and is threatened by habitat degradation and poaching. Rainbow eucalyptus. Have you ever seen a tree that seems like it was painted by an artist? Check out the rainbow eucalyptus, Eucalyptus deglupta. It's truly one of nature's most colorful creations. In the rainforests of Papua New Guinea, Indonesia, and the Philippines, this tree doesn't just grow, it really transforms. The bark keeps peeling off, showing off the bright green underneath. As it gets older, it transforms into a beautiful blend of blue, purple, orange, and deep red, giving off a natural rainbow vibe. Every rainbow eucalyptus is like its own piece of art, with no two trees looking alike. This tree isn't just stunning to look at, it also has an important role in the environment. It really grows super quickly, sometimes reaching 3 feet in just a year. Plus, it's a popular choice for making paper because of its sturdy, pest-resistant wood. Even though it can adapt well, it still has to deal with threats in its natural habitats. Logging and habitat loss are really putting wild populations in a tough spot, which makes conservation efforts super important right now. Quadruple flower. Few flowers stick around and bloom for weeks, while others take their time and last for months. But the quadruple flower, Epiphyllum oxypetalum, really stands out on its own. It opens up for just a few special hours, and only when the sun goes down. This rare cactus flower, often called the Queen of the Night, blooms at night, filling the air with its amazing fragrance. But by the time the sun comes up, it's disappeared. This unique flower is highly sought after worldwide. The quadruple flower, found in the forests of South America and Southern Asia, is not only loved for its stunning appearance, but also carries a lot of spiritual meaning in various cultures. In Buddhist traditions, it stands for purity and enlightenment, but few folks view it as a symbol of the fleeting nature of life. It's not easy to grow one. It requires little patience, the right weather, and a touch of luck. People who have seen it bloom at midnight say it's a surreal, almost magical experience, one that vanishes just as fast as it shows up, like a dream slipping away with the morning light. Resurrection plant, Selaginella lepidophylla. In the harshest deserts where life seemed impossible, a little but amazing plant overcomes all odds. The resurrection plant, also known as Selaginella lepidophylla, has an almost supernatural capacity to withstand severe dehydration. When confronted with drought, it rolls up into a dry, lifeless ball, as if it had died. However, when it comes into contact with water, it suddenly unfolds, re-emerging in a vibrant green show. What permits this survival trick to work? So, the magic ingredient here is trehalose, a unique sugar that helps the plant keep its cells safe from harm. This allows the plant to go into a sort of sleep mode for months or even years until things get better. It's fascinating to observe how these plants can separate from their roots and roam in the desert, patiently awaiting the arrival of a rare rainfall to resume growth. Thank you for joining us. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Until next time, take care.